Hi there, folks. Welcome to Storytime with Johnny Waken. Today I'm going to read to you a story called The Education of Little Tree from Forrest Carter. So sit back and relax and lend me your ear, and I'll tell you about Little Tree. Page 9, The Way. The night shadow backed down and across a little meadow, heavy with grass and shining in the sun bath. The meadow was set into the side of the mountain. Grandpa pointed. There was quail fluttering and jumping in the grass, feeding on the seeds. Then he pointed up toward the icy blue sky. There were no clouds. At first I didn't see the speck that came over the rim. It grew larger, facing into the sun, so that the shadow did not go before him. The bird sped down the side of the mountain, a skier on the treetops, wings half folded like a brown bullet, faster and faster toward the quail. Grandpa chuckled. It's old Telkin, the hawk. The quail rose in a rush and sped into the trees, but one was slow. The hawk hit. Feathers flew into the air, and then the birds were on the ground, the hawk's head rising and falling with the death blows. In a moment, he rose with the dead quail clutched in his claws, back up the side of the mountain and over the rim. I didn't cry, but I know I looked sad, because Grandpa said, "Don't feel sad, little tree. It is the way. Telkon caught the slow, and so the slow will raise no children who are also slow. Telkon eats 1,000 ground rats who eat the eggs of the quail, both the quick and the slow eggs. And so Telkon lives by the way. He helps the quail." Grandpa dug a sweet root from the ground with his knife and peeled it so that it dripped with its juicy winter cache of life. He cut it in half and handed me the heavy end. "It is the way," he said softly. "Take only what you need. When you take the deer, do not take the best. Take the smaller and the slower, and then the deer will grow stronger and always give you meat. Paco the panther knows, and so must ye." And he laughed. "Only Tibby the bee stores more than he can use. And so he's robbed by the bear and the coon and the Cherokee. It is so with people who store and fat themselves with more than their share. They will have it taken away from them, and there will always be wars over it. And they will make long talks, trying to hold more than their share. They will say a flag stands for their right to do this, and men will die because of the words and the flag. But they will not change the rules of the way." We went back down the trail, and the sun was high over us when we reached the turkey trap. We could hear them before we saw the trap. They were in there, gobbling and making loud whistles of alarm. "Ain't no closing over the door, Grandpa," I said. "Why don't they just lower their heads and come out?" Grandpa stretched full length into the hole and pulled out a big squawking turkey, tied his legs with a thong, and grinned up at me. "Old Telkri is like some people. Since he knows everything, he won't never look down to see what's around him. Got his head stuck up in the air too high to learn anything." "Like the bus driver?" I asked. I couldn't forget the bus driver fussing at Grandpa. "The bus driver?" Grandpa looked puzzled. Then he laughed, and kept laughing while he stuck his head back in the hole, pulling out another turkey. "I reckon," he chuckled, "like the bus driver. He did kind of gobble now, come to think of it. But that's a burden for him to tote around, little tree. Nothing for us to burden our heads about. Grandpa laid them out on the ground, legs tied. There were 6 of them, and now he pointed down at them. They're all about the same age. You can tell by the thickness of the combs. We only need 3. So now, you choose, little tree. I walked around them, flopping on the ground. I squatted and studied them and walked around them again. I had to be careful. I got down on my hands and knees and crawling among them until I had pulled out the 3 smallest I could find. Grandpa said nothing. He pulled the thongs from the legs of the others, and they took to wing, beating down the side of the mountain. He slung 2 of the turkeys over his shoulder. "Can you carry the other?" he asked. "Yes, sir," I said, not sure that I'd done right. A slow grin broke Grandpa's bony face. "If you was not Little Tree, I'd call you Little Hawk." I followed Grandpa down the trail. The turkey was heavy, but it felt good over my shoulder. The sun had tilted toward the further mountain and drifted through the branches of the trees beside the trail, making burnt gold patterns where we walked. The wind had died in that late afternoon of winter, and I heard Grandpa ahead of me, humming a tune. I would have liked to have lived that time forever, for I knew I'd please Grandpa. I had learned the way.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Love me in the light of day, and don't try to hide your heart away. We both know you don't have to go. Won't you stay and love me in the light of day? Love me where we can see, and don't try to hide your eyes from me. If what you feel is really real, won't you stay and love me in the light of day? Don't leave it locked up like a secret, the way you keep it, even from me. Don't be afraid of the love we've made. Won't you stay and love me in the light of locked up like a secret, the way you keep it, even from me. We both know you don't have to go. Won't you stay and love me in the light of you stay and love me in the light of day? Won't you stay and love me in the light